Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. A little while ago, I covered a disc by British pianist Jonathan Plowright, his Homage to Chopin, a splendid disc on Hyperion. And one of you mentioned that there is a companion disc, Homage to Paderewski. And here it is, also worth talking about. Not going to be as popular, perhaps, as the Homage to Chopin, because Chopin is Chopin. And it's very difficult today to give listeners, especially newcomers to classical music or the piano repertoire, an idea of just what a significant figure Paderewski was. And not just as a pianist. He was Poland's first prime minister after World War I. He was the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He was involved in setting up the League of Nations and representing Poland there. He was a remarkable, remarkable man. Saint-Saëns called him a genius who just happens to play the piano. He was a very fine composer. He didn't write a ton of music or a ton of orchestral music, but what he wrote was very, very high quality. His Polonia Symphony is marvelous. He wrote a couple fine works for piano and orchestra. And we have here, he lived from about 1860, I think it was, to around 1941. And when he died, Boosey and Hawkes in 1941 actually, was preparing a commemoration of his first appearance in the United States, I believe it was. The notes describe this whole thing here, and I didn't memorize them, but I think I have the story pretty straight. And he died. He died precipitously, and he was about 81. And so this became a memorial album. Now, the original album of pieces by composers who were either his students or who knew him or who were around or who cared or who they could get in touch with, they were basically all resident in the United States as a result of the First World War. And there are, 17 of them on this disc. In addition to which, there are other works that Plowright has added to fill out the disc and bring it up to 75 minutes and 22 seconds of playing time. And they were all dedicated to Paderewski. So we're all part of the Paderewski circle. You know, as a composer, the only piece that he is known for now, and was even known for then, was his Minuet in G. And, most people today wouldn't recognize it at all if they heard it. When I was taking piano lessons back in the 60s, when I was a kid, I remember that the Minuet in G was still part of the sort of standard books of, pieces for beginners. It says yum bum ba da da dum bum ba da da dum bum ba da da dum bum ba da da dum. Like, it's familiar, and some of you may recognize the tune, not necessarily from the way I sing it, but you can go and hear it on YouTube. There's a billion performances of it there, and that was the piece by which he was best known, believe it or not. Today, not even that, but he was an incredible figure, really a musician of extraordinary stature and a person of great nobility and dignity and charisma. So this is entirely apropos that everybody should want to write sort of little homages to him. So who are the composers here? Well, we have Józef Wieniawski, who was the brother of the other Wieniawski, Henry Wieniawski, the violin guy. Ernst Schelling, who was an American composer. And then we've got part of the Homage to Paderewski collection. Well, there's the rest of it. Bartók's 3 Hungarian folk tunes. We all know who Bartók was, right? So there's Bartók, Arthur Benjamin, English composer, Theodore Chandler, most of these people you won't have heard of, Felix Lubunsky, Mario Castelnuovo Tedesco. Well, he's pretty well known. He was one of the Jewish composers who was in America because he was fleeing the Holocaust. And then we've got Eugene Goossens, he was a conductor, he was very well known. Richard Hammond, Darius Milhaud, another composer who was hanging out in the US of A. Martinu wrote a mazurka. A lot of people wrote little mazurkas. Joaquin Nin, he's known to people who like Spanish music. He wrote lots of guitar music. and quite a few other pieces too. And we've got Emerson Whithorn, and Hommage, another American composer. Vittorio Rietti, well known for writing band music, concert band music, and other things like that. He's a good Italian composer. I've reviewed some of his stuff here, and you can take a look at that to get a sense. He wrote a delicious, his piece is lovely. It's an allegro danzante. Most of these pieces are either little mazurka things or rather elegiac because, they're written in memoriam of Paderewski. So that's a lot of fun, that this one is just so vivacious and perky. Ernest Schelling, another American composer. Karl Rathaus, who was, another refugee composer in the United States. He made a bit of a splash as part of the Entartete Musik series. His symphony was performed and recorded as part of that series by Decca. What else have we got here? Oh, Sigismund Stojowski. We've seen him floating around a bit on Capriccio and other labels. Jaromir Weinberger, the composer of Schwanda the Bagpiper. Was a classic. He's another composer now who's only known for the polka and fugue from Schwanda the Bagpiper. Dum ba da dum ba da dum ba da 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 dum bum 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 bum. Remember that? Maybe not. Anyway, so he's on here. That's the album, the Homage to Paderewski album that Boosey and Hawkes published. Then we get Benjamin Britten's Mazurka Elegiaca. That was written for 2 pianos. And it's a big piece, 8 minutes and something. Britten misunderstood the nature of the commission, so he wrote this relatively large work for 2 pianos. Alexander Zarzitsky, his Song of Spring. Cécile Chaminade. Now, Chaminade is, one of the first major French lady composers. So that's interesting. And finally, Felix Blumenfeld. So that's the last piece from his Polish suite, the Suite Polonaise. All of these were dedicated to Paderewski, and they are all played to a fare thee well by Jonathan Plowright, who is a splendid pianist, thoughtful, virtuosic, intelligent, tasteful, beautifully recorded by Hyperion. And if you got the Homage to Chopin, you're going to want the Homage to Paderewski as well. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.